Hi everyone, Jenica Ray here with Live Your Best, and this is my first product review video, and these are all going to be based on research, not hearsay, not marketing, just pure research. And I will have all this kind of description stuff in my channel, so I'm not saying the same thing every time. I base all this on research. Yes, we will know that as time goes on. So the thing I wanted to start with, because as a mental health therapist, I've been getting these conversations come up in my sessions pretty much since I started practicing outside of my schooling in 2013. I started practicing in 2011 in school, my internships. But this has been coming up since about 2013, 2014, something like that. And it's just gotten more and more and more common, especially my clientele who are regular, like pot smokers, and the benefits and the not benefits that they've had from that too. So this is something I felt would be such an appropriate start. So I'm going to start with the claims and what I found. So the claims that that different manufacturers have about CBD oil specifically, and what the culture claims, and then what I found with research and with some of my own qualitative, just listening to people in sessions, stuff like that. So the thing I found was there wasn't a load of conclusive research, which I don't expect at this point, because CBD oil was such a new and emerging thing for kind of what ailments, the applications were very vague when it first started coming out. So I wasn't expecting a ton of research. What I did find was actually pretty dang good. I found a ton of research covering epilepsy. That was number one. Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, basically neurodegenerative diseases, and then psychotic disorders like schizophrenia is one psychotic disorder. So the claims that it can help with symptoms with Alzheimer's, epilepsy, ALS, which is also called Lou Gehrig's disease, fibromyalgia, Parkinson's disease, multiple sclerosis, schizophrenia, and like disorders, anxiety disorders, depressive disorders, PTSD, autism, pain issues, which is another very common one, and certain types of lung cancer. I'll get into that because that was interesting. So I found, again, positive and negative research, okay? I'm going to start with the negative, then I'll go to the positive, always end on a positive note. So one, we need more research. People need to just keep researching this stuff. So I did find one harm outcome. Now, this is just the research I did. I do not have the time to read 5,000 articles. I do the best survey that I can do because, I works and stuff. I have a job. So the one harm outcome, when I say harm, I mean not just an adverse effect, like this could have been an issue that really had some lasting effects or other medical effects come up. So there was an adolescent girl who had ASD, which is autism spectrum disorder. This diagnosis now includes Asperger's, okay? So from Asperger's to severe, I don't know where she was on the spectrum, but she had a psychotic episode, which is like hallucinations and stuff. So that was very, very troubling, but it was one. And of course, they immediately stopped the treatment for her and got her back on different medications, whatever she was on before or whatever. And that was horrible. Yes, that is a harm. I consider a psychotic episode absolutely to be a harm outcome. So that was the one harm outcome I found. And I didn't find anything else, which was really great. Doesn't mean it's not out there and it didn't happen, just that I did not find it. Another thing I found, which was actually pretty shocking to me, was most CBD oils are highly mislabeled. So when I say mislabeled, if it's underlabeled, there's more CBD oil than what it says. And if it's overlabeled, there's less CBD, sorry, not oil, but CBD in there than what it says. And then sometimes they found that there was no CBD at all in the oil, whatever the heck oil they had in that little vial. Which, by the way, it was just some researchers who gathered a bunch of different CBD oils from all over the place, in store and online market, and tested them in their own testing facilities. So yeah, they were either over-labeled, under-labeled, or they just had no CBD in them at all. So that was kind of nuts. And they found only a third of them were properly labeled. I was expecting like 85% or something, but no, only a third were properly labeled. That means around 66% were mislabeled, either underlabeled, overlabeled, or had no CBD in them at all. So a few other issues is a lot of people found that topical application may not be sufficient. The absorption may just not work. With the oral stuff, meaning whether it's a gummy or some kind of food, or the tinctures, you just like the little oils you put directly under your tongue that are flavored, stuff like that, the sublingual, that their onset and duration are unknown. So especially if you get something that's underlabeled, meaning it has way more CBD in it than what the bottle says, and you take that full dose thinking, oh, we'll be okay, and the onset's really quick, there could be some adverse effects come out of that, or maybe some harmful effects. So a little bit of risk there. So there's definitely the damning research out there for sure, which really for any kind of medication at all, you're going to find it. Now, to the positive, I did find some positive research. The biggest one, the most researched for the longest duration, was epilepsy. The big one was with otherwise untreatable epilepsy in children. That's been expanded to adults, which is great. So that's super, very, very well researched. And then some symptoms with Parkinson's, not all. The research articles I found, some found that, this group of symptoms improved, others found that group improved. It was never an overall improvement like Parkinson's was just gone, but statistically significant improvements, which was great to see. And this was really surprising and very ironic that it helped with certain types of lung cancer. So it was certain types of cell proliferation, which basically means cell reproduction. That's what cancer is cells basically reproducing out of control, and that's the short version. But they tested, this one research group tested THC and CBD together and CBD by itself, and they both found significant decreases in these cell reproductions in certain types of lung cancer. So that was cool. But then I have reports from my clients over the years. The biggest report I've had is it helps with anxiety. And a lot of them being I've worked a little bit, or actually a lot, in the drug and alcohol recovery sector, in addition to other sectors. A big reason for starting to use illicit drugs anyway are anxiety, depression, and PTSD. And anxiety is probably one of the biggest ones. So the fact that they're saying I can toke a little and feel better and be able to function and not have so much anxiety, and I don't want to do my heroin, I don't want to do all these other things, that's great to hear. That it works for them. I will never tell a client go smoke weed ever. Just like I'm not telling you to go get CBD oil and use it for, try it out for your ailments. 100% that's on you, okay? So the point is there are benefits and risks to this. So yes, it can help with epilepsy, Parkinson's, Alzheimer's, and and to some degree, anxiety, depression, autism spectrum disorders. Again, it's not a cure-all even for these. They see improvements and mitigations, palliations in certain symptoms, and not the whole thing. It's not like, oh, I was autistic and now I'm not, or I'm no longer anxious ever. Even with over-the-counter drugs or prescription chemically manufactured drugs, that's not the case either. Nobody makes those claims because it's just not true. So I recommend you doing your own research. You talk to a doctor, health coach, naturopathic doctor, whoever you trust, whoever you want to include in this process. And if you wanted to go out there and get it and try it, that is a thing you can do. That is your decision. but I do recommend talking to a doctor first. Now, I will tell you this, you go to an MD, and generally an MD is going to say, nope, don't do it. And that's traditionally, it's starting to loosen up a little bit. Traditionally, that's the way they're going to go, because that's the way they've been trained. You know, they've been trained for pharmacology, not herbology and naturopathy and homeopathy, none of that stuff. And a lot of the reason they will tell you is because this stuff is not FDA approved. CBD oils are not FDA approved, just like any other herbs or supplements in general you get in the market. There are very few exceptions to that. So, but 99% of things, you know, herbs and supplements you find in the store, you know, are not FDA approved. So, and I'll even say on there these statements or claims or whatever are not approved by the Food and Drug Administration. So, and you always have to remember everyone's going to react differently. Even if you have every single one of your friends are like, it's great for my anxiety, and you try it for your anxiety, it doesn't mean it's going to work. And just like anything you would get in a prescription from a doctor, not everything's going to work the same for everybody, ever. So, if you want to go give it a try, please do. If you don't, that's okay. Whatever you want to do with this. Now, I did do some research into some companies that I now trust. I didn't know about them before because I didn't. You know, they're not like on TV and all over Facebook and whatnot. So, but I put some links down below of companies that I researched and seeing if they actually do they outsource, actually having a different company, a third party doing their oil testing and making sure they're getting their hemp from proper sources and growing it properly, stuff like that. So looking into these in these places, if you're going to look anywhere, I recommend these first to just look at. Again, I don't say go try it. I can't do that, and I wouldn't. So y'all go do what you're going to do, but number one, be safe, and I'll be with y'all again later.